Good afternoon, and welcome to the latest edition of Off the Cuff. You may notice we're in a different location than my office this afternoon. We're down here at Wright's Landing Marina on one of the brand new Tiki boats that we're using for the Sunset Tiki tours here in Oswego Harbor. So you may have recently heard we opened up the reservation portal for reserving these Tiki boats. The city bought 2 of them. I announced this initially in my State of the City address back in January. But we recently opened the portal up and the tours sold out within 90 minutes. So they went faster than expected, but I think it just goes to show the demand and the urge that people have to get out on the water and visit Oswego's waterfront in this marina and experience new things through the summer here in central New York. So just in case we may extend or expand these tours later in the summer or certainly next year. So I'll still take a minute to talk about how these tours work, and this may be helpful information for folks who were lucky enough to get a reservation and so they can understand what to expect and some of the rules. Last year the city bought 2 Tiki boats you see here. They're a Tiki kind of Hawaiian luau style, and we are using these boats to have tours throughout the harbor. The tours in the month of July will run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., so it's a 2-hour tour. And then in August, they'll run from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. because it obviously gets darker earlier. So you can go on the portal when tours are available, and for $200, you can rent the boat out for the 2 hours that night. You can have 6 people on the boat total. So, $200 divided by 6 is a pretty affordable night out this day and age. And the route has you meeting the licensed captain. The city hired a bunch of licensed captains to charter these things. You meet your captain at Wright's Landing Marina at 6:30. You leave the marina and there's a lap where you go through the harbor inside the breakwall. You go then out to the lighthouse, then up the river and do a U-turn, and then back to the harbor. And you do that lap 2 times. Each lap takes about an hour. And then as the sun is setting, if conditions allow, the captain will just peek outside the lighthouse to get a shot of the Oswego's world-class sunset. So it's an enjoyable evening. The boats are bring your own beverages, so you are allowed to bring alcohol on the boat, or you can bring a cooler with nothing in it, or water, or just ice, or beer, cocktails, whatever floats your boat, no pun intended, and have an enjoyable night. We have some wireless speakers that you can hook Bluetooth up to pick some music as you sail around the harbor. And as I said, we have a licensed captain who's here to pilot this boat to make sure they're doing it properly, and the boat is Coast Guard inspected. So it's really a great program that's come around. We've done some test runs the last few days, and people are giving some great feedback back to me and saying that the boats are a great time and they're really working out just the way we had hoped. Once you get on your boat, there are some rules. Obviously, no smoking, no drinking. You must be 18 years and older to ride these boats. Obviously, no drinking if you're under 21. And you have to obey captain's orders at all times. If you have a reservation, you'll get a call the day of your trip at about 5 p.m. from one of our captains to verify that they are going out tonight or they're not. When you booked the boat, there was no deposit. So unfortunately, with the weather and the lake conditions here in Oswego, we do expect some tours to get canceled. The good news is when your tour gets canceled, you're not out any money, and the captain will let you know when he calls you at 5 o'clock. If your tour is canceled, though, the bad news is that because they're full, you're kind of out of luck for this season. But we'll make sure to keep you on a list and try to give you a first opportunity next year should these tours continue. So that's kind of a summary of how these boats work and how our program here will work. I think, again, it's a great affordable option for people to get not only to the waterfront but out on the water and enjoy some of Oswego's sunsets and have a really nice time. These tours are similar to what you've probably seen in Lake George, Key West, even the city of Buffalo. So this isn't unique to Oswego, but it's very unique and rare here in central New York. So I urge you to enjoy your time if you're lucky enough to get a reservation, and be on the lookout in case we do get to expand this program deeper into the summer and try to get an opportunity to get out on one of these things. Beyond the Tiki boats, we are about to start the summer concert series at Veteran Stage on the West Linear Riverwalk. We're kicking off with Off the Reservation on Thursday, June 30th, and then we'll follow that up with kicking off the Water Street Square concert series with Mike Scheel on Friday, July 1st. So we have back-to-back concerts Thursday and Friday nights for the rest of the summer, with the exception of Harborfest weekend, again, right along the riverfront. So enjoy the water, enjoy downtown, and make sure you stop down and see some of these concerts and support local musicians. Also on Sunday, July 3rd, we're having the 4th of July Independence Day Parade at 1 o'clock down State Route 104, the traditional route as always. And then a little different this year, where then after the parade ends around 3 o'clock, starting at 5 o'clock, we'll have another downtown block party. This is the block party that we had last year for 4th of July in place of the parade, where on West First Street we block it off. We have a band. This year we're featuring Ruby Shoes, which is a great Rochester-based band playing all sorts of music. John McConnell will be opening for Ruby Shoes. We allow the restaurants to expand their outdoor dining areas out into the street. A lot of the restaurants will be running some specials that day and certainly will be open. And then we have a ton of kids' activities lined up, a Euro bungee, a bungee run, wild animals will be on display, and a whole bunch of other stuff, fire dancers, roaming characters, and the list goes on and on. It's really actually hard to list everything that's going to be going on at this block party. It's going to be a great time. Craft vendors and food vendors will be there. And then we cap it all off at 9:45 with fireworks launched from the pedestrian bridge over the Oswego River, which is always a very fun event and a great firework display. So make sure you are down there for that following the parade from 5 to 10 p.m. In other news, we demolished 2 sources of blight in Oswego neighborhoods. 17 Liberty Street and 187 East 4th Street have been demolished. These properties were longtime cancers to the neighborhoods in which they were in, so we're glad to help out some of the neighbors and get rid of these longtime sources of blight. I thank the council for their support in making funding available for that. We also issued a $75,000 grant to Oswego Little League. This funding will be used to light up Legault Field. And the reason we're doing this is because Little League has grown over the years. If we light up the fields and allow for nighttime play, they can then expand the fall ball program deeper into fall when it gets darker out earlier in the day. And it also makes our Little League facilities over at Fort Ontario more viable for larger and more tournaments, Little League tournaments and games. So we're happy to help grow Little League and give more kids in Oswego more opportunities to play Little League by lighting up Legault Field. Also, you can't beat playing or watching a baseball game under the lights, so it's a new unique experience for our kids that they'll get to enjoy. And then finally, but perhaps most important, is the start of the International Kahil Pier project, Phase 2. Last year, you may remember we demolished the former Oswego Yacht Club, and then we did a lot of work that was underwater to restabilize the pier, sheet piling around the perimeter and making sure that the pier doesn't suffer from more erosion or landslides into Lake Ontario, and overall securing the structure to last another few decades after taking a big beating from the high water levels from Lake Ontario. So now this year, we've talked about it a lot, we're starting the phase 2 of the project, which is actually the surface work that will be visible to people as they walk by, turning the former pier, coal trestle pier, into a boardwalk and for more or less a public park where people can actually fish on the pier, walk the pier. We'll have more fire patio seating areas. It'll actually act as like an extension of Brightbeck Park and the marina. So I think it'll be a great addition to the waterfront waterfront area. This project is about a $5 million project that we plan to start now and should be done by the middle of October. And then we'll come back in spring of 2023 to do some landscaping and touch-ups before we do the grand opening. Finally, phase 3 of that project will be the construction of a large pavilion out there that will RFP for a bar or restaurant to go in and act as a tenant, to actually have another attraction out on that pier that I think will not only draw visitors and residents from land, but also more boaters into Oswego as they make that stop, as they maybe cruise from Sandy Pond to Fairhaven or wherever they're going. So as always, it's been a very busy month. We're setting up for a busy summer with a lot of the ongoing projects. The Pier's under construction, Sheldon Beach is under construction, the skate park's under construction. So there's a lot happening right now, but we wouldn't have it any other way. It's a great sign of progress. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you were fortunate enough to get down here this summer on one of these Tiki boats. If not, keep checking that portal. Something may open up, or we'll get to you next season. So thank you, and tune in next month.